Have you ever scrolled through the news and felt a knot in your stomach? It feels like every day there's a new headline about escalating conflicts, new military alliances, and rising tensions between global powers. It's easy to wonder, are we inching closer to something truly catastrophic, like a third world war? And why does the year 2026 keep popping up in these discussions? Today, we're going to dive deep into this unsettling question. We'll look at the current global hotspots, analyze the predictions from experts, and try to separate fact from fear. This isn't about scaremongering. It's about understanding the world we live in. So stick with me as we unpack whether World War III is really on the horizon for 2026. First, let's talk about why 2026 is a year of concern for some analysts. A big part of this comes from military and intelligence assessments about national capabilities. Several key nations are expected to reach significant milestones in their military modernization programs around that time. For example, some reports suggest that by 2026, China's military may feel confident it has a window of opportunity to act on its long-term goals in the Indo-Pacific, particularly concerning Taiwan. This isn't a random guess. It's based on tracking naval shipbuilding, missile development, and troop readiness exercises. Simultaneously, we're seeing shifts in the West. The United States and its NATO allies are also in a race to modernize and adapt. They're developing new technologies like hypersonic missiles, AI-driven warfare systems, and enhanced cyber defenses. The year 2026 could represent a critical point, where the military balance of power becomes highly contested. When one side feels it might have a temporary advantage or that its window of opportunity is closing, the temptation to act decisively can increase dramatically. It creates a use it or lose it mentality, which is incredibly dangerous on a global scale. Now, let's move from the Pacific to Eastern Europe. The ongoing war in Ukraine has completely reshaped the security landscape. It's not just a regional conflict. It's a proxy battleground where Russian ambitions clash directly with Western support for Ukrainian sovereignty. By 2026, this conflict could evolve in several dangerous ways. Will it be a frozen conflict, a long grinding war of attrition, or could it escalate? Any direct clash between Russian and NATO forces, even an accidental one, could trigger Article 5, the Collective Defense Clause of NATO. That is the clearest and most terrifying pathway to a wider European war, which would almost certainly become a global one. The longer the war in Ukraine continues, the more chances there are for miscalculation and escalation. Beyond the major powers, we can't ignore the Middle East. The region is a perpetual powder keg. Tensions between Iran and its regional rivals, backed by Western powers, are always simmering. A conflict over Iran's nuclear program, for instance, could spiral out of control, drawing in the US, Russia, and even China, all of whom have significant interests in the region's stability and energy resources. A major war in the Middle East could disrupt the global economy so profoundly that it forces nations to choose sides, hardening battle lines across the world. Think about the Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point for global oil supply. Any disruption there would send shockwaves through every major economy. So we have these three major hotspots: the Indo-Pacific, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. What connects them all? It's the new era of great power competition. The post-Cold War period of relative American dominance is over. We're now in a multipolar world with the US, China, and Russia all vying for influence. This competition isn't just military. It's economic, technological, and ideological. They are competing for resources, for trade routes, for alliances, and for the right to set the rules of the international system. This global rivalry creates a fragile, interconnected web of tensions. A spark in one region can easily ignite a fire in another. Let's also consider the role of technology. Modern warfare is changing at a blinding pace. We're talking about cyber attacks that can cripple a nation's infrastructure, from power grids to financial systems, without a single shot being fired. We're talking about autonomous drones and AI making life-or-death decisions on the battlefield. The rise of disinformation campaigns on social media can sow chaos and division within a country. It's hard to know who attacked you, and it's even harder to know how to respond appropriately. A massive cyber attack could be seen as an act of war, but what's a proportional response? These ambiguities make escalation much more likely. But here's a crucial point: war is never inevitable. While the risks are real, there are powerful forces working against a global conflict. The first and most obvious is nuclear deterrence. The concept of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, is as relevant today as it was during the Cold War. The leaders of the US, Russia, and China are all acutely aware that a full-scale war between them could lead to nuclear annihilation. This ultimate checkmate provides a powerful incentive to pull back from the brink. No one wins a nuclear war, and that terrifying reality forces a degree of caution. The second force is economic interdependence. For all the talk of decoupling, the global economy is still deeply interconnected. China is a manufacturing powerhouse for the entire world. The United States is a massive consumer market. A war between them would be economically catastrophic for everyone, including themselves. This economic entanglement acts as a powerful brake on military aggression. Leaders have to weigh the potential gains of a military victory against the certainty of economic ruin. This doesn't prevent all conflict, but it raises the cost immensely. So where does that leave us with the 2026 question? It's not a prophecy, it's a risk assessment. 2026 represents a potential convergence of several dangerous trends: military modernization cycles, unresolved regional conflicts, and intensified great power competition. It's a warning sign, a point on the calendar that defense planners are looking at with concern. They are asking, if a conflict were to happen, when would our adversaries be strongest, and when would we be most vulnerable? The 2025 to 2027 timeframe often comes up in those strategic calculations. But what can we, as individuals, do about this? It can feel overwhelming, like we're just passengers on a ship heading for a storm, but that's not entirely true. Public opinion matters. Demanding diplomacy over conflict, supporting leaders who seek de-escalation, and staying informed from reliable sources are all crucial. We must resist the urge to fall into nationalist fervor or to dehumanize people from other countries. History teaches us that wars are often fueled by propaganda that turns neighbors into enemies. By fostering understanding and communication, we strengthen the foundations of peace. In the end, predicting the future is impossible. There are simply too many variables, too many human decisions that will be made between now and then. The risk of a major global conflict is higher now than it has been in decades. The warning signs are clear and the hotspots are simmering. However, the powerful deterrents of nuclear weapons and economic collapse are also still in place. The year 2026 is not a destiny written in stone, it is a challenge. It's a call to action for our leaders to engage in smart, effective diplomacy, to strengthen international institutions, and to find off-ramps from the current collision course. It's a reminder for all of us to remain vigilant, informed, and committed to a future of peace, not war. Thank you so much for watching and for thinking through these complex issues with me. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay safe and stay informed.